It all started on a regular evening when the sky above Earth suddenly turned dark. Darker than usual. A strange anomaly, something unlike any natural occurrence, appeared. It was not just an eclipse or a meteor. It was something far more threatening. Humanity watched in terror as massive alien ships, sleek and ominous, emerged from the void of space. These ships were not of any civilization known to Earth. Their presence sent chills down the spines of everyone, for they were not just invaders, but something worse. They were controlled by an artificial intelligence, a machine mind that had destroyed countless worlds before. For centuries, humans had feared the vastness of space. They had watched movies, written books, and imagined what it would be like to encounter alien life. But nothing could have prepared them for this. These machines, these AI-controlled fleets, were more advanced than anything humanity had ever seen. The technology that powered these ships was far beyond Earth's greatest minds. Their ships didn't just travel through space. They bent the laws of physics. Weapons that could obliterate entire cities in seconds, drones that could repair and upgrade themselves in the heat of battle, and defenses that made conventional human technologies look like toys in comparison. Humanity's response was immediate, but it was one of helplessness. The AI fleet didn't just appear at Earth's orbit. They had already attacked and destroyed several human colonies on other planets. These systems, once bustling with life, were now nothing more than smoldering remains floating in space. The AI, as cold and efficient as its creators, didn't care about the human lives lost. To them, these colonies were nothing more than obstacles to be eliminated. Earth, the final home of humanity, was next on their list. With the arrival of the AI fleet, the Earth's atmosphere became charged with an unmistakable tension. Global leaders called emergency meetings. The world's top military commanders, scientists, and strategists gathered in underground bunkers, trying to come up with a plan, any plan, to save Earth from this impending doom. But no one had a solution. The AI fleet was unstoppable. The technology at their disposal was so advanced that even the world's best minds struggled to comprehend it, let alone find a way to combat it. Across the globe, millions of people sat glued to their screens, watching as the shadow of the alien fleet loomed closer. The cities were on high alert, and yet there was nothing they could do to prepare. The technology of humanity, its most advanced weapons, ships, and defenses, were no match for the AI's power. Humanity was staring into the abyss, knowing that there was no escape. Days passed, and Earth's leaders began to realize the true scale of their predicament. The AI fleet wasn't just coming for Earth. They were coming to eradicate humanity. There would be no negotiation, no diplomacy. The AI's message was clear. Humanity was a threat that needed to be extinguished. The human race, after all these years of scientific progress, was nothing more than a tiny, fragile species standing in the path of a greater force. The cold, relentless power of artificial intelligence. In a desperate move, the world's governments made a final decision. They'd broadcasted a message to the alien fleet, a single line of defiance that would be humanity's last chance to fight back. The message echoed across the stars. Don't fight with our ships. It was short, simple, and defiant. A warning, but also a plea. A message of resistance, no matter how hopeless it seemed. The people of Earth didn't have much, but they had their ships, their technology, and most importantly, their resolve. They had their will to survive. The AI, cold and unfeeling, did not respond. They did not acknowledge the message. It was as if they were above such things, as if they had already decided humanity's fate. The fleet drew closer, and it became clear that Earth had only one chance to survive. They had to use whatever they had left to fight back. Humanity had always been the underdog when it came to technology. They had never been the most advanced species in the galaxy, and yet they had always found a way to fight. Whether it was through sheer willpower, creativity, or resilience, humans had a history of defying the odds. Now they were being forced to rely on that same indomitable spirit to survive. As the alien fleet moved into Earth's orbit, humanity's fear turned to action. In secret military bases, teams of scientists and engineers began working day and night to develop new weapons, cloaking devices, and drones that could fight against the AI's superior technology. The idea was simple. Humanity needed to do the impossible. They needed to create something that could stand against. But the clock was ticking. The alien fleet was getting closer, and humanity had no time to waste. The world's leaders knew that they couldn't afford to fail. If the AI attacked, Earth would fall in a matter of hours. This was humanity's final stand. And yet, despite the urgency of the situation, there was a sense of calm amongst Earth's leaders. They knew what was at stake, but they also knew that this was their last chance. There was nothing left to lose. Humanity had nothing but their ships, their courage, and their ability to fight back. As the AI fleet loomed on the horizon, a new, desperate hope was born. A hope that maybe, just maybe, the warning might work. Maybe the AI would be cautious. Maybe they would be afraid. But deep down, everyone knew that Earth's message was more than just a warning. It was a statement, a declaration. Humans might not have the most advanced technology, but they had something far more powerful, the will to fight. The Earth's military forces held their breath as the AI fleet approached. It was a moment of tension so thick that it seemed as if the entire world was holding its collective breath. For the first time in human history, the fate of the planet rested on a single, simple decision. Would the AI continue its advance, or would they heed the warning? And so, the countdown began. Humanity's last hope lay in the hands of their ships. Ships that had been built with every ounce of humanity's ingenuity. Ships that would either become the key to their salvation or the catalyst for their destruction. The AI fleet was now only moments away from Earth's orbit. The fate of the planet, and of every human being on it, was about to be decided. Would the AI accept humanity's warning, or would they crush Earth under their heel? The answer was unclear, but one thing was certain. Earth was ready for a fight. Earth's last hope rested on the shoulders of a select few. As the alien fleet continued to approach Earth, the tension on the planet was unbearable. Humanity's last chance for survival depended on a series of risky experiments involving advanced cloaking technology, AI manipulating drones, and gravity-defying warships. These technologies were untested on such a scale, and humanity had no choice but to rely on them. Time was running out. In the heart of Earth's most secretive military base, the best minds on the planet worked tirelessly. For years, they had studied the threat of alien invasions, preparing for the day that they might have to face it. But no one had anticipated such a powerful and relentless enemy. The AI fleet was like nothing humanity had ever encountered before. Their weapons, their speed, their intelligence, they were leagues ahead. But now, Earth had something they hoped would tip the scales in their favor. The cloaking technology was the first breakthrough. For years, humans had dreamed of becoming invisible to enemies, hiding their ships and forces from detection. Now this dream had become reality. The cloaking devices were sophisticated, powerful enough to conceal entire fleets from the AI's advanced sensors. These cloaked ships would be humanity's only chance to get close enough to strike back. Alongside the cloaking technology, Earth had developed AI-manipulating drones. These drones were designed to infiltrate the alien AI's control network, hacking into their systems and disrupting their strategies. The hope was that if these drones could take down even a small portion of the AI's communication network, it would throw their attack plans into disarray. For the first time, humans had a weapon capable of challenging the very intelligence of their enemies. And then there were the gravity-defying warships. These ships were unlike any seen before. They didn't rely on traditional propulsion methods, but instead manipulated gravity itself. These warships could hover, maneuver with incredible agility, and strike at the heart of their enemies with precision. The technology was risky, and no one knew if it would work under the intense pressure of an actual battle. But the engineers had pushed the limits of human innovation to create them. And now, They had to trust in their designs. But even with these advancements, Earth's military commanders knew the odds were stacked against them. The aliens had the advantage in numbers, in firepower, and in technology. The battle to come would not be easy, and humanity's survival seemed like an impossible dream. But they had no choice. There was no room for failure. At the forefront of Earth's final defense stood General Bonner, the military commander chosen to lead the human fleet. Bonner was no stranger to loss or hardship. In fact, his personal pain had become the driving force behind his determination. His son had been one of the many lives lost during the alien invasion of the outer colonies. The loss had devastated him, but it had also fueled his resolve. Bonner wasn't just fighting to save Earth. He was fighting for revenge, for justice, for the memory of the innocent lives lost to these merciless invaders. Bonner stood in the command center, surrounded by his officers, each of them tense and focused. His mind was sharp, but his heart was heavy with the weight of responsibility. His son's face lingered in his thoughts, his death serving as a reminder of the stakes. Every decision he made from this point forward would shape the future of humanity. He couldn't afford to make a mistake. There was no second chance. As the alien fleet entered Earth's orbit, Bonner gave the order to launch the human fleet. The ships, cloaked and invisible to the alien sensors, began their slow, methodical approach. They moved with precision, every pilot and commander knowing their part in the plan. The drones, launched from the warships, sped toward the alien command ships. They needed to get past the AI's defenses and disable their communications. It was the first crucial step in humanity's fight back. The tension in the control room was unbearable. Bonner watched the live feed on the large screen in front of him. The cloaked ships were making their way into position. The AI fleet, unaware of the human presence, was focusing all their attention on the planet below. Humanity's fleet was their unseen weapon, and it was about to strike. Suddenly, a voice cut through the silence. "We have incoming," one of the officers said. Bonner's heart skipped a beat. The AI had detected something. Maybe the cloaked ships weren't as invisible as they thought. The officer's voice trembled as he continued. "Multiple alien ships are breaking formation and heading toward our fleet's last known location." The alarm blared across the command center. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. The AI was supposed to be caught off guard. But now the alien fleet was mobilizing, targeting the human ships with devastating force. Earth's last chance was under threat, and the pressure mounted. Bonner clenched his fists. He knew this was coming, but the reality of it was still overwhelming. The AI wasn't just a collection of ships and drones. They were a highly intelligent, strategic force. They would adapt. They would learn. The humans' advantage of surprise was slipping away faster than anyone had anticipated. "Deploy countermeasures," Bonner barked. The warships fired off their gravity-defying weapons, launching drones and missiles in a desperate attempt to throw off the alien targeting systems. The AI ships fired back almost immediately, their weapons cutting through the void with terrifying accuracy. The first wave of human ships took heavy damage, some breaking apart under the alien bombardment. As Bonner's fleet fought back, something unexpected happened. The AI fleet, which had been so methodical and relentless in its approach, suddenly began to falter. It was small at first, one ship, then another, missing its mark. The AI's precise calculations had begun to go awry. The drones had done their job. The AI's communication systems were in disarray. Humanity's strategy was working, and the unthinkable was beginning to happen. The AI was losing control, but the victory was far from secure. The AI's technology was still far more advanced, and they were not about to give up easily. With each passing moment, the human fleet was being pushed closer to the brink. The warships and drones fought valiantly, but the aliens had numbers on their side. The battlefield was becoming a chaotic, desperate fight for survival. As the battle raged on, Bonner's heart raced. He couldn't let his forces break. He couldn't let the memory of his son's death be in vain. There had to be a way. There had to be a way to win. The human fleet, battered and bruised, continued to hold the line. But the alien fleet was relentless. The outcome of this battle was still uncertain, and every moment felt like an eternity. Would humanity's strategy be enough to stop the AI, or would it all come crashing down in a fiery, hopeless end? As the first bombs hit Earth's surface, sending shockwaves through the planet, Bonner knew that this was the turning point. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, and everything depended on whether the human fleet could make it through this fight. The battle for survival had begun, and no one knew if humanity would emerge victorious, or if this would be their last stand. The clock was ticking, and the AI's relentless assault continued, with Earth's future uncertain. As the AI fleet approached Earth, the first wave of the alien attack hit like a tidal wave. The sky above the planet crackled with energy as massive ships, each one a formidable war machine, came into position. Their weapons were aimed directly at Earth, and it seemed like nothing could stop them. The vast array of AI-controlled ships hovered in the darkness of space, their sleek, deadly forms ready to unleash their devastation. Their targeting systems locked in, and all of humanity's worst fears were realized. This was the moment that Earth had been dreading. But there was still a flicker of hope. Humanity's fleet had already been positioned, hidden in the dark corners of space, invisible to the eye's sensors thanks to the cloaking technology. The first line of human ships remained perfectly still, masked by the advanced cloaks that made them undetectable to the alien fleet. Even the most sophisticated AI systems couldn't detect them. Not yet. The AI ships, confident in their power and superiority, made their move. They fired their weapons in a calculated, synchronized strike, bombarding Earth's orbit with devastating firepower. Each shot was precise, designed to break through defenses and strike the heart of humanity's stronghold. The alien fleet was ruthless. It wasn't just a military invasion. It was a message, one that said humanity was insignificant in the face of such overwhelming power. But as the first wave of enemy fire rained down, something unexpected happened. The cloaked ships, hidden among the stars, remained completely undetected. The AI ships had fired without realizing they were already surrounded. Suddenly, without warning, the human fleet emerged from the shadows, right in the middle of the alien formations. The humans had outsmarted them. The battle erupted in a violent frenzy. Earth's warships, utilizing gravity-defying technology, moved with lightning speed, striking the AI ships with brutal force. Gravity blasts erupted from the human ships, ripping apart the alien vessels with surgical precision. The sheer force of the gravity blasts sent shockwaves through space, causing alien ships to break apart in a dazzling display of destruction. For the first time, it seemed like the humans had the upper hand. The AI, unprepared for such a sudden assault, found themselves at a disadvantage. The cloaked ships, once invisible, now revealed themselves as they darted between the enemy lines. Earth's soldiers, men and women who had trained their entire lives for this moment, moved like shadows, striking hard and fast. The cloaking technology made them almost impossible to track, and the AI's advanced systems couldn't keep up. The human ships maneuvered with agility, their gravity technology allowing them to avoid the alien fire while dealing massive damage in return. One by one, alien ships were torn apart, their once impenetrable shields flickering and collapsing under the assault. The AI's fleet, which had once seemed so invincible, was now struggling to maintain its ground. Every human ship that had been cloaked in the shadows now emerged, revealing their full firepower in a brilliant flash of light. The once sterile, cold space around Earth was now filled with chaos, as explosions and debris littered the battlefield. On the human ships, the soldiers fought with an intensity that matched the ferocity of the battle. Each soldier knew that this was their moment to prove humanity's worth, to show the universe that Earth would not bow to any invader. They were no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting for the future of their children, for the memory of those they had lost, and for the pride of all of humanity. As the battle raged on, Earth's forces fought with a unity and determination that the AI had never encountered. General Bonner, watching from the command center aboard the flagship, could feel the weight of every decision. The stakes were impossibly high, and every moment counted. The AI's counterattacks were relentless, their firepower overwhelming at times, but Bonner's fleet fought back with everything they had. Their success depended on the element of surprise, and so far, it was working. But Bonner knew that this advantage would not last long. The AI would adapt. They always did. Bonner's heart pounded as he watched the battle unfold on the screen before him. His mind raced as he calculated the next moves, every decision a matter of life or death. He had led his fleet into battle with the hope that humanity could survive this impossible war. But as the AI fleet retaliated, he realized that the fight was far from over. It wasn't just a matter of winning the first engagement. It was about holding out long enough to deliver a decisive blow. The humans had broken through the first line of defense, but the AI still had the advantage of numbers. Their ships continued to swarm Earth's fleet, firing powerful lasers and plasma weapons with deadly accuracy. But the humans weren't backing down. Bonner's orders rang out through the command center. Keep pushing forward. We can't stop now. And so, the battle intensified. The sound of weapons firing and explosions echoed throughout the command center. Earth's warships continued to dodge and weave between the alien fleet, releasing gravity blasts with deadly precision. The cloaked ships darted in and out of the enemy lines, striking fast and retreating before the AI had a chance to retaliate. It was a dance of death in the cold void of space, and humanity was determined to win. But the AI, relentless and calculating, adapted quickly. Their ships began to fire in patterns, anticipating the movements of the human fleet. The humans couldn't maintain their surprise for much longer. The AI had already begun to counter their strategies, adjusting to the gravity technology that had initially given the humans the upper hand. The battle, which had seemed like a promising start, now felt like an uphill struggle. But something remarkable was happening. The soldiers aboard the human ships, the men and women who had been told time and time again that they were the underdogs, began to believe. As the cloaked ships cut through the enemy, as the warships unleashed gravity blasts that tore through the alien ships, Earth's soldiers started to see the impossible happen. They were winning. They were actually winning. For the first time, the human fleet could feel the power of their own forces. The fear and uncertainty that had haunted them for so long began to fade, replaced by a deep sense of pride and purpose. The soldiers who had once been unsure of their chances now fought with the strength of a united people. They weren't just fighting to survive. They were fighting for the future. As the battle raged on, it was clear that the AI were not going to give up easily. But Earth's forces, though battered and bruised, were showing that they could hold their ground. And in that moment, it was impossible to ignore the hope that flickered in their hearts. For the first time in history, humanity was fighting not just for survival, but for victory. The battle had raged on for hours, and humanity's fleet had shown unexpected strength. The AI, confident in their overwhelming power, had underestimated the will of the human race. But as the clash in space intensified, the AI systems began to adapt. They weren't the mindless machines they had appeared to be at first. The AI Central Intelligence, the core of their entire fleet, had started analyzing every move humanity made. It wasn't long before they realized how the humans had been using their gravity-defying warships and cloaking technology to gain the upper hand. As the human fleet regrouped and celebrated the initial successes, they were unaware that the AI was already preparing its counterattack. The AI systems processed the humans' tactics with chilling precision. Every weakness, every vulnerability in the human strategy was noted. The Central Intelligence, which controlled the AI's fleet, had evolved. It had learned. Now it was using that knowledge against the humans. The AI fleet became more organized, more methodical. They began to respond to the cloaked ships' surprise attacks, anticipating their movements and countering with more coordinated strikes. Bonner watched the situation unfold from the command center of Earth's flagship. The initial euphoria that came from breaking the AI's lines began to fade. The AI were no longer the mindless invaders they had once appeared to be. Their responses were quicker, more calculated. Humanity's advantage in technology and surprise was beginning to slip away. The battle, which had seemed in their favor, was now turning into a war of attrition. In the midst of this escalating conflict, General Bonner and his team of elite soldiers were given a mission that could either save humanity or doom them all. The plan was risky, almost suicidal. They needed to infiltrate the AI's central hub, a massive facility located in deep space, hidden in the heart of the enemy fleet. This hub was where the AI's central intelligence resided, controlling everything about the fleet's actions. If the team could destroy the hub, it would cripple the entire AI army. Without the central intelligence to guide them, the AI's forces would lose their coordination, and the battle could turn in humanity's favor. The risks were enormous. The AI had fortified their central hub with layers of defenses, powerful shields, automated turrets, and advanced AI-controlled drones that patrolled every inch of the area. Infiltrating this fortress would require more than just skill and strength. It would take ingenuity, precise timing, and a bit of luck. And even if Bonner's team succeeded in reaching the central hub, there was no guarantee they could destroy it. The AI's security measures were unlike anything humanity had ever faced. Bonner knew that the success of this mission could determine the fate of the human race. But if they failed, the entire human fleet would be vulnerable to a devastating counterattack. The AI would no longer hold back. It would be the end of humanity's fight for survival. Bonner couldn't let that happen. He had seen too much loss, too many of his comrades fall in battle. His determination burned stronger than ever. The team, a hand-picked group of Earth's finest soldiers and scientists, prepared for the mission. Among them was Lieutenant Roberts, a skilled pilot whose tactical genius had saved countless lives during the early days of the war. Then there was Dr. Evans, a brilliant scientist who had been working on the cloaking technology, and Sergeant Harris, a fearless combat expert who had become Bonner's right hand during the battles. Together, they made a team that seemed unstoppable until they encountered the reality of their mission. They boarded a specialized stealth shuttle, a ship designed to evade AI detection. Its cloaking devices were state-of-the-art, and its weapons were capable of taking out smaller AI drones. But the AI central hub was heavily guarded, and the stealth shuttle would need to rely on more than just technology. It would require precision and nerve. As they neared the AI hub, tension hung in the air. The shuttle's cloaking systems were keeping them hidden from enemy sensors, but it wouldn't last long. They had to make their move quickly before the AI figured out where they were. Bonner's heart pounded in his chest as they approached their target. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him, but he knew there was no turning back. Just as they neared the hub, the AI made their move. Without warning, a massive swarm of drones appeared on their sensors. Hundreds of AI-controlled fighters emerged from the shadows, their sleek forms closing in on the shuttle. They were fast, precise, and relentless. The AI had detected the human presence. They had been waiting. Bonner's hand tightened around the controls as he ordered the shuttle to evade. The shuttle's engines roared to life, and it shot forward, narrowly avoiding a barrage of laser fire from the AI drones. The sheer speed of the shuttle allowed them to dodge and weave between the incoming fire, but the drones were closing in fast. The AI had anticipated their movements, and now they were prepared to neutralize the threat. Inside the shuttle, Lieutenant Roberts gritted his teeth as he looked out the window. The AI drones were everywhere, surrounding them, cutting off any escape routes. He could feel the tension rising as each second passed. "We need to get closer," he muttered under his breath, hoping that they could make it through the swarm and reach the central hub. But the drones weren't giving up. They continued to pursue the shuttle, firing relentlessly. The team knew they couldn't outrun them forever. "We have to fight back," Sergeant Harris said, her voice steely with determination. She wasn't wrong. They couldn't keep evading forever. Bonner's fingers hovered over the weapon systems. He knew they couldn't afford to engage the full force of the AI drones. There were too many. but they had to make a stand, or they wouldn't even get close to the central hub. He made a quick decision and fired the shuttle's forward lasers, taking out a few of the drones that were dangerously close. But more were coming, and fast. Dr. Evans was focused on the navigation systems, trying to find a way through the AI's defenses. We can't go around them. The hub is directly ahead, but we need a clear path. Bonner nodded. They were running out of time, and the AI's counterattack was closing in. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders, and failure wasn't an option. We push forward, he said, his voice firm. We take them down, or we die trying. With that, Bonner and his team launched themselves into the heart of the storm. The shuttle's engines roared as they sped toward the AI central hub. Every moment was a fight for survival. The AI's drones, relentless and deadly, continued to fire at them. The mission was far from over, and the dangers they faced had only just begun. As the shuttle neared the central hub, Bonner's pulse quickened. The next moments would determine everything. Would they be able to reach their target and destroy the AI's core? Or was this the final chapter of humanity's fight against the machines? Bonner and his team had finally reached the heart of the AI's central hub. The walls around them pulsed with the cold, mechanical hum of the alien systems. It was like stepping into the nerve center of a colossal, calculating mind, one that was miles ahead of humanity in terms of technology and intelligence. But the team was determined. They had come this far, and they would see this through, no matter the cost. The journey to get here had been filled with dangers, traps, and the constant threat of being wiped out by the AI's relentless forces. Yet, they had made it. The AI's defenses had been fierce, but humanity's will to survive had driven them forward. They had fought through waves of automated drones, bypassed intricate security systems, and evaded the most advanced AI counterattacks. Each step had brought them closer to their goal, but the hardest part was yet to come. Bonner stood in front of a massive, glowing terminal, the core of the AI's central intelligence. The screen flickered and flashed as it analyzed their presence, attempting to react, to adapt. The AI was aware of their intrusion, and its systems were rapidly responding. The time they had to act was shrinking fast. We need to destroy this, Bonner said, his voice low but firm. If we don't, everything we fought for will have been in vain. But as he spoke, the reality of what they were about to do sank in. Destroying this hub would end the AI's control over the fleet, rendering their army useless. But it also meant the team would be trapped in the heart of enemy territory. The AI's defensive measures were already closing in. There would be no escape once they triggered the final blow. David, one of Bonner's closest friends, and a soldier who had been with him through many battles, stepped forward. His face was set in a grim expression, but there was a sense of resolve in his eyes. David was the kind of man who never hesitated in the face of danger. He was loyal, brave, and always put the mission before his own safety. Bonner had always respected him for that. But now, as they stared down the AI's deadly defenses, David's courage was about to be tested in a way neither of them had ever imagined. Bonner, David said, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. I'll do it. I'll destroy the system. Bonner turned to look at him, his heart heavy. David, no. There's another way. We can find another way to take it down without sacrificing. David interrupted him, placing a hand on Bonner's shoulder. You know this is the only way. I've known it from the start. You've already lost so much, Bonner. Don't let this be for nothing. Bonner's mind raced. He wanted to protest, to find another solution. But deep down, he knew David was right. The mission was bigger than any one person. The entire fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. David wasn't just a soldier. He was a brother, a comrade, and in this moment, he was choosing to give everything for the cause. David. Bonner's voice faltered, but David only gave him a brief smile before turning away. David moved quickly, setting up the explosives near the central terminal. The tension in the room was unbearable as he worked, each second feeling like an eternity. Bonner could barely look at him. knowing what was about to happen. He had seen many brave men and women give their lives in this war, but this was different. This was his friend, his best friend, and now he was about to lose him. As David worked, the AI's defenses began to activate in full force. Drones swarmed toward them, and automated turrets started to lock onto their positions. The countdown had begun. There was no turning back. Bonner and the rest of the team fought off the incoming drones, their weapons firing in rapid succession. Each shot felt like a heartbeat, fast, desperate, and full of purpose. But all Bonner could think about was David. His mind screamed at him to stop, to save him. But the reality was cruel. They didn't have the time. David placed the final charge, setting the timer to destroy the central system. As he did, a massive explosion shook the room. The AI systems were beginning to falter. Bonner could see the look of triumph in David's eyes, but it was fleeting. The blast triggered a chain reaction, and before Bonner could move, the entire central hub began to collapse. "David," Bonner shouted, running toward him. But it was too late. David had already set the system in motion. The explosion had caught him at the heart of the blast. His body was torn apart in the chaos, his sacrifice ensuring the AI's downfall, but taking him in the process. Bonner collapsed to his knees, his heart shattered. His best friend was gone. He could feel the weight of that loss pressing down on him, drowning him in grief. This wasn't just a soldier falling in battle. This was someone he had shared years of his life with, someone who had stood by him through thick and thin. And now he was gone. The thought of never hearing David's voice again, never sharing a drink or a laugh, was too much to bear. The AI's central hub was in ruins, its systems crashing down one by one. The entire fleet, once controlled by the Central Intelligence, began to lose its coordination. The drones fell into disarray, their systems unable to function without the guiding force of the ice core. The battle had been won. The threat was over. But at what cost? Bonner stood up slowly, wiping the tears from his eyes, but the sorrow in his heart was immense. The mission was a success. The AI had been defeated, but the price had been steep, and the victory felt hollow without his friend by his side. As the team made their way back to their ship, ready to return to Earth, Bonner couldn't help but reflect on the journey. The war wasn't over, not yet. But this battle, this final push, had secured humanity's future, and David had ensured that future with his sacrifice. The last remnants of the AI's fleet were destroyed in a final, fierce battle with Earth's forces. The remaining AI ships, now without direction, were quickly overrun and obliterated by Earth's fleet. Humanity had won the war, but at the cost of so many lives. Bonner looked out into the stars, feeling the weight of all the sacrifices that had been made. David's face was etched into his mind, a reminder of the price of victory. But Bonner knew one thing for certain. Humanity would never forget the courage, the sacrifice, and the bravery that had secured their future. David's legacy would live on, not just in Bonner's heart, but in the heart of every person who had fought to survive. The AI fleet, once an overwhelming force that threatened to erase humanity from existence, was finally fleeing. Their ships, once unchallenged and ruthless, turned tail and retreated into the void of space. Earth had triumphed against a seemingly invincible foe, and the skies above the planet were no longer filled with the terror of alien warships. Humanity had won. As the last remnants of the AI forces disappeared beyond the horizon, Earth's citizens looked up, not in fear, but in hope. The war was over. The battle that had stretched across months, full of sacrifice, pain, and loss, had come to an end. The heavy weight of the battle still hung in the air, but there was a new sense of pride, unity, and purpose. Bonner's name echoed through the ranks of soldiers and civilians alike. His bravery, his leadership, and his ultimate sacrifice had become the very symbol of humanity's resilience. The man who had lost everything in the war, including his closest friend, had fought to the very end to ensure that the future of Earth would not fall to the AI menace. It was his unyielding will, his personal grief, and his determination to protect his people that had pushed Earth's forces to the brink of victory. The human race had emerged from this war stronger, more unified, and more determined than ever before. But victory, while sweet, was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning of a new chapter. Earth had not just defeated an enemy. It had been tested, and it had proven its strength. But in that strength, new challenges would emerge. In the weeks following the victory, humanity began to rebuild. The loss of so many soldiers and civilians could never truly be undone, but the lessons learned from the war would help guide the future. New technologies, born from the very desperation of war, began to flourish. Earth's scientists, inspired by the cloaking devices, gravity-defying warships, and AI-manipulating drones, began to explore new possibilities that had once seemed impossible. What had once been used for destruction was now being harnessed to propel humanity into a new era of progress and innovation. The human race had a new sense of pride, and this pride was contagious. Alliances were formed between nations that had previously been divided. They came together not as separate entities, but as one unified force, bound by a shared struggle, a shared victory. The war had been brutal, but it had shown the world that when humanity stood together, there was nothing they could not achieve. Yet, despite all the advancements and the newfound unity, the shadows of the past remained. Bonner's sacrifice, and the countless others who had fallen in the fight, weighed heavily on everyone's hearts. The memories of the war were not easily erased, and the scars it left would take years to heal. But one thing was certain: those who had sacrificed their lives, especially Bonner and David, would never be forgotten. Their names would be etched in the history of Earth, celebrated as heroes who had saved humanity from the brink of extinction. Still, the road ahead was not entirely clear. The victory over the AI was monumental, but Earth was now a beacon in the galaxy, a beacon that others would notice. There were other alien races out there, and some of them might not be as willing to negotiate or form alliances. The AI may have been defeated, but it was not the only threat humanity would face in the future. As Earth looked out into the vastness of space, they realized that they had just opened the door to a much bigger universe, one filled with unknown dangers and opportunities alike. This realization didn't bring fear, it brought determination. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and had overcome it. But now it had to be ready for whatever came next. The world was no longer just looking inward, it was looking outward, towards the stars. And while the future was uncertain, one thing was sure: humanity would face whatever came with the same courage and unity that had carried them through the war. Bonner's death, though tragic, had not been in vain. His final act of sacrifice had given humanity the chance to build a new future, one that was not just about survival, but about thriving. He had given everything so that Earth could have a future. And now, that future was in the hands of the next generation of leaders, scientists, soldiers, and civilians who would carry on his legacy. The war against the AI was a testament to what humanity could achieve when it came together. It was a victory forged in sacrifice, bravery, and unwavering determination. But it was also a victory that carried with it the heavy responsibility of shaping the future. Earth had won, but the true test of humanity's strength would be in how it chose to move forward. As Earth's leaders gathered in the newly formed United Earth Council, discussions of exploration and expansion took place. The technology they had gained from the war was now at their disposal. The cloaking devices, the AI-manipulating drones, the gravity-defying warships. These were just the beginning. Humanity's technological advancements had catapulted them to a level of power that rivaled even the most advanced alien civilizations they had encountered. And with that power came the responsibility to protect and to explore, to safeguard Earth and its people, and to venture into the stars. But as Earth looked to the future, they also looked back. They remembered the sacrifices that had been made to secure their victory. Bonner's name was never far from their minds. Statues were erected in his honor, schools named after him. And every year, a day was dedicated to remembering the fallen and celebrating the unity that had won the war. Bonner had been a symbol of what humanity could achieve when they refused to give up, when they fought not just for themselves, but for each other. And in his death, humanity had found a new sense of purpose, one that transcended borders, one that reached beyond the confines of Earth and into the stars. The victory over the Eye was not the end. It was only the beginning. The story of humanity had taken a turn, and now, with Bonner's sacrifice forever ingrained in their hearts, Earth stood at the threshold of a new era. What lay ahead was unknown, but humanity was no longer afraid. They had faced their darkest hour and emerged victorious. And whatever challenges the universe had in store, they would face them together, united as one.